It's office hours live in 3D.
With IMAX, Dolby, and everything else.
Yes, with IMAX. We got the wide angle. Yes, we both have new mics, so we got the Dolby surround sound. Yep.
Welcome to Office Hours.
Hi.
Let's just do the whole episode like this.
Let's do it. Yeah. Welcome to Office Hours. If you already are annoyed and you want to get straight to the lesson and learn about 3D, control right. Hit that control right. It'll take you right to the next chapter so you can get started. If not, hang out with us for a second. Yeah. I'm Andrew Hochradel. Hi.
I'm Nick Longo.
Nope.
Chill with us for a while,
That's
right?
it. That's it. Yeah. And this is Office Hours. So Office Hours is a show that happens every single Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. We help you level up your skills, level up your portfolio. We're in summer now, so we're just teaching you really cool stuff and having some fun. Once we get back into school, we will be teaching you some more stuff, and we'll be getting into our next session. Beginning in mid-July, we'll be doing a photo boot camp. There was a bunch of new stuff that just got released for Lightroom. So we'll be showing you Lightroom Mobile, Lightroom retouching, Lightroom, we're going to show you all the retouching and all the
Lightroom.
All the Lightroom, and some Photoshop in there too. I know that people have always wanted to learn about frequency separations. So I'll show you how to do frequency separations. If you're ever shooting with the model, they got coarse skin, airbrushed, easy.
Oh, yes. I think I saw some of that before.
Yes.
That's a really great tip.
It's wild. Perfect. So we don't have any announcements. We don't have anything coming up. We will actually be off the week of July 4th. So July 8th, if you're coming and you're trying to watch Office Hours, no, don't. Go outside. Go outside. Yeah. And have some fun.
Life.
Use Lightroom Mobile. Take some pictures. Oh, here's the homework assignment.
Hey.
The homework assignment will be the week that we are off. Go take some pictures, and over the next few weeks, you can think about it. Go take some pictures, and once you take those pictures, you can bring them to our photo boot camp. But you also can put them right here in our Discord, which will be the link right over there, discord.gg/HCC. You can drop them in Discord, and right here is our homework. We'll post the assignment for you over the next few weeks to take a bunch of photos. We'll be spending 4 weeks talking about photos. So take a bunch of photos, portraits, landscapes, and we will come back to those in future weeks. If you ever have suggestions for shows, Nick, where can they leave their suggestions?
Right there in our Discord channel.
Yep.
You can see it right there. We're
really,
always checking it out.
Anywhere below. So you can go to the Discord channel, you can go to the links in the description, or you can just comment if you want. Just comment on the video down below. If you're watching the live show, hi, hello, you can comment over there in the live chat as well. All right, Nick, let's go ahead and hop in. We had a bunch of new stuff happen in Adobe Illustrator last month that I don't think a lot of people have talked about. And it's all in what theme? What are we talking about today?
3D.
This was 6. There we go. 3D. Yes, it is 3D. And I think that, Nick, have you used 3D in the past very much in Illustrator?
It's always, the first generation of it was a little like, okay, cool to try.
It's there. It's fun. Yeah.
Wasn't finding the application. Second version of it, which was about a year ago, we were all like, whoa, okay, it's gotten there, right? It's getting better. Now I can actually find applications for this. Productivity, it's making things faster. But what we're going to show you today, I think even takes it to the next level. I love that they are continually getting that part better. It's kind of fusing the worlds. Between some of the apps.
It very much is. And so
I love this.
Let me show you all something that I made just to give you a taste of what we're doing in 3D. And maybe we'll do something like this today. I made this image completely in Illustrator this morning. It is 100% Illustrator. It was flat shapes. There's nothing here that was like rendered or in any other program. Like, it is full Illustrator. Look at the texture, look at the shadows, look at the it is really, really good. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. If you wanna see some of that, stick around and watch the show. If you wanna jump straight there, control right. We love a good shortcut here in Office Hours. Hop to that chapter.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop in and get started. Nick, do you wanna start out? Should I start out? Where do we wanna start out?
Gosh, I could start out a little bit, just show some of the basics if you haven't even touched this app yet or this part of the app.
Let's do it.
So many good things to check out and see what to do.
Let's do that.
Really cool.
Here's what we're going to do here. Nick, hit us with the chapter intro as people jump in with that control right, and then we'll get started. All right, starting Office Hours in 3D in 3, 2,
hey, you've jumped ahead for the 3D and we are ready. We've got some 3D ready to go. How was that?
That was great, Nick. I loved it. That was a great intro. All right, everybody, let's hop on in here. We are on Nick's screen over here.
Yeah.
Nick's screen looks like this. My screen looks like this, just for context, if we're going back and forth.
There we go. So I'm just going to start with the simplest of things because this is literally just a vector art. To me, sometimes this is the easiest way to show off some of these incredible new features that are here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 3D window and bring it over. I had it on the sidebar here as well. If you need to go and find it, it is literally just going right in here in your window and going to 3D and materials.
Yeah, which it used to be in effects. It used to be in effects,
Yes.
and it has moved to be its own window now.
Yeah, and now this is just getting more and more robust. There's a lot of new things that are continually adding in there. But if you haven't seen any of this stuff, it's really simple. To me, it's just literally like click, see a preview, continue, do a little adjustments, and now they're adding all these new fine-tuning things in here.
Yep.
So real quick, you have your objects, you have your material, and you have your lighting. This will be your ray tracing. What that is it's typically off. That gives you a low res preview of your 3D. And when you click on that, you'll see it will take a little time to render. I'm working with it off just so we can get through this and you can see how everything
We will be
goes.
working with it off pretty much until the end of the episode. And then we'll show you some of the great renders. And it is super powerful. The stability is huge improvements that just launched last month. But 3D renders are 3D renders, so it does take a second. All right, Nick, what are we going to start clicking on first?
So what's great here is it's all categorized together. You have the top 3 areas here, which is lighting and materials and object. When you start with object, your first 4 objects are plane, extrude, revolve, and inflate. So basically plane is now taking this and bringing it to a 3-dimensional plane, very similar to the art that Andrew just showed where it had everything kind of slanted on a plane back like that. So that's the first thing it will do. The next one is extrude. And you can see immediately what that does is it actually takes some dimension, starts putting in lighting and shadowing, and it gives you a very big 3D effect, all controllable. And I'll show you that in a second. The next is basically rotate. Now what rotate's doing is it's actually, that is amazing. It's actually taking it and making the 360 of it.
Yes.
Andrew's going to show you something that we're going to build real simply in Illustrator later, and you're going to see what Revolve actually does.
And it's funny because Revolve is the one that I thought, like, what would I use this for? And then once I realized what it does, use it for everything. So I'll show you what to use Revolve for.
Here's a hint. When you can't find that exact 3D model of something, you can actually build it.
Especially mock-ups.
Cool. There you go. Inflate does exactly what you would expect. Again, totally turns this into something as if it was like pumped up. Now it's kind of full, and we can control that as well.
Yep, and Inflate is a newer addition to 3D as well.
Brand new. So just to show you a few things here, when you get into extrude, just to show you the kind of the simple stuff here, you have depth. You can obviously create this as much as possible. You can grow as from small to as little. This is, I believe, new too, right? It actually takes it in more of like an outline shape. Kind of feels a little bit different.
Yeah,
like
you can pull the caps off there. Yep.
There you go. Perfect. So look at that. That's pretty cool. We'll go back to this one as well. Now you have a few more things here. I'm going to just go through the things here. Bevel. This is so cool because what it's doing is it's actually creating more dimension than the art that you actually put in there. This is as if you were making an offset path within and you're having a higher edge and a lower edge. No need to do anything but just click the bevel, and we're on classic, and you can see how controllable this bevel is. I can actually even increase the height of it as well, not just the width, and then the repeat. So if you want to do multiple, are you kidding me?
You can get some really cool steps.
You know what? Even 5 years ago, this would have been a 4-hour build, easily, and that kind of thing. Bevel inside. Look at this. Like, this is just amazing. So all of a sudden you're creating new, unique items that are really cool. Both sides can do that as well. I'm sure that's just not visible.
I'll show both sides because I have a good idea for that.
Now I believe the presets are new. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Presets, there are new presets. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what's neat about this is, just like we looked at in Lightroom a few weeks ago, this idea of having presets is just really good starters. If there's something that you have in mind and you want to just see if a preset's there, I just went through a bunch of them earlier today just to see. So you've got isometric right, which is perfect. Now I'm assuming it does the exact opposite, but notice the lighting has gotten a little bit lighter because it's still continuing a light source, and we'll show you that in a little bit.
Yep.
But the new thing here is this perspective, and this is really kind of unique. So you can see it's kind of changing the angle of where we are. It's kind of more of a bird's eye approach, whereas I go now this way, it kind of goes more to that flattened one. So it's really kind of unique. Try it out with a different one. I'll even move here, and you'll see how perspective changes it. It's actually warping it to the point where it's like that distortion of a really weird camera angle.
Yep.
So love this idea. Do you want to take them into maybe Revolve or Inflate from this point? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. I do want to cover a couple things in Extrude as well. So I'm going to show something. And my favorite thing to make using the 3D, I've just been playing around with it, is like making gems. Uncut gems.
Nice.
Wow, I'm late on that trend. So I'm going to grab the polygon tool and just make some random polygons. So let's do a polygon that has 6 sides. And I'm just using the polygon tool and then clicking. Let's do one that has 5 sides. And then maybe one that has, I don't know, 7 sides?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so we've got some shapes here, and let's go ahead and create some really cool kind of floating gems. We can click on Extrude right there, right? Pull out a little bit of depth here, and maybe we want this to be like a crystal. And so the way to do that is we turn on our bevel, right? And you can already see it, and you're pulling the width out, maybe so it comes to a point right there. The height is gonna just give you a lot more height on that kind of point.
Yeah.
So kind of there. And this little circle-y thing that you see here, this is actually how you can revolve it without using the sliders. So we can click right in the middle where it says rotate freeform. And you can see that it rotates in 3D live, like really cool. So you can just kind of grab it and really see what's happening.
Wow.
But the thing that's wrong is if we want it like at this angle, we don't have the other side. So we can do bevel both sides, and this is brand new.
It is.
And it's going to bevel both of those sides. So now
with
we
the
have
same calculations.
Same calculations. So now we have a nice little kind of gem. Maybe we want that at a point still, and maybe we just want a little less depth. Is going to pull the middle in there. Right. So now we've got that cool kind of gem look, rotated full 3D shape. Right?
Pretty incredible.
That's wild. So you can do the same thing, and we can add in maybe a couple different bevels. So we can do that extrude, and we can change the bevel to maybe something that is a step. And this is how you can get something, there we go, that's got that extra little step on it, like a little node.
Yeah.
If we want to do multiple steps, like we want to do a pyramid, we just change the repeat to have a bunch of those, right? We got like a little Devo hat here.
Totally. Just turn it red and you're good to go.
Yep, and the space is going to change to the space between those levels. What are they called? Repeats.
Yes.
We're going to bevel both of those sides. It's going to do the same thing. So now when I rotate it, boom. We got that nice little 3D brick, right? It's so cool. It's so handy and so cool. So I do want to show you how to do the Revolve tool. So I won't show you what's down here. You got a little preview. The Revolve tool, I'm just going to make a circle and show you what it does. So if I click on Revolve here, it is basically going to make it a donut. And the reason that it's going to make it a donut is because it's taking that circle and it's basically just rotating it around a middle point. So as I change the offset, you can see that it's actually getting wider from that center point, and it's just rotating that circle around into a 3D object. We can change how much it is revolving. If we want to do a little smiley face, we can do it halfway. If we want to do a macaroni, actually, if we want to do a macaroni, we can just turn off the caps.
Oh yeah.
And there we go. We got a macaroni. That's so fun. So you can play around with that and kind of make the different offsets. But what I want to show you is how to use this revolve, not just to make circles, but to make different shapes. So check this out. I'm going to delete this real quick. And what Revolve is really great for is just doing half of an object and then creating a custom mockup with it. So Nick over here has a bottle. This is just a picture of a bottle that he's found. And we want this to be something that we can map some art onto. So
Let's
Nick,
give it a shot.
Yeah, can you tell us what you're doing and how we're going to be using it?
So what I've done is, let's say you found or you need a unique bottle shape that's just not found somewhere else, and you do need to create this model yourself. We're going to give this a shot. All I've done is I've placed this image. It does have like, you know, transparent background. And I've given a ruler right in the middle just so I have that line right at the beginning. So all you're really going to do is you're just going to zoom in, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to create half, right? So I'm just going to even cap this a little bit, make it look like it's a cap. You can simplify this if you need to, but you can see even what I'm doing here, we're going to get a lot of really cool, you'll see when we take this. So I'm just going to give it a nice curve here, like that, like that. We can always go back and change this. Should we make the label space? I'm going to make that little space.
Don't.
Right,
I would.
like that?
Yes. Yep. Because I am working on a label right now.
Oh, look at us. Okay, boom. And then let's get this one right there. So I'm just going to go, didn't even give it a color here. Let me go back here. We'll take this. We'll make it, where's my thing here? Perfect. We'll make it a black line. And for now, I'm just going to go back and like kind of retrace and give this a little bit more of our actual shape. So I'm just going to finish this off a little bit here. Perfect. Let's see. That looks good. All right. I'm going to delete that. So you can see all I have is this one line that we've made. Perfect. Bring this over. Okay. So from there, we're going to hit the Revolve tool. Oh, look what I got.
Ooh.
That's like some crazy Voss.
That looks crazy and wonky. And here's what's happening. So Nick, can you drop that in our library and I'll kind of show you what's happening. And if you have that issue, how to fix it.
I noticed I just dropped it into our libraries and Andrew's going to take it and show you what to do.
Yeah, super easy. So here we go. I'm still working on this little label, but I'm going to go ahead and open up my libraries and we're going to go to live sessions. All the faces.
Oh
if you have been watching Office Hours for a while, all this makes sense to you. If you haven't, you're probably so confused right now. All right, let's see. Do you know what it is called?
Yeah.
Actually, let me just sort it.
Let's see. I'll put it back in there again one more time and we'll see what it was saved as. Wow, we have so much.
I know there's so much random stuff in here.
It artwork? No.
I'm guessing
40?
it's this one.
Artwork 40.
Okay, artwork 40 is what we're saying.
Or 39. I put it in there twice. So
that's half of a space thing.
No, that's let's see.
Live sessions. We're professionals, I promise.
Yes, we are. And we are looking for artwork. Let's see. That's the highest number. So let's see. Can we can't name it something.
You can double click and name it.
Oh, but I can't even find it to double click it.
I know, I can't see. Can you try to drag it in one more time?
Yeah, we did it. I did it one more time there. You sure it's not? Is it 41?
Why am I not seeing it?
Nope. That's Beacon. And we're in live sessions.
We're in live session. All right, Nick. Can you just go ahead and
let's try it. What do we got?
Can you go ahead and just slack it to me?
Slack it to you. All right, perfect. Let's do that.
Just save it out as an AI. Oh no, I got it.
Here we go.
Here we are.
Look at this, folks.
It's here. Sorry. All right, so we have the half of what Nick was working on, right? Mm-hmm. And here's where Revolve really is magic. When I click on Revolve, oh no, it's wrong. That's because it is rotating from the wrong edge. So you always want it to revolve from the edge that you have open. So from here, we're going to do right edge. And look at that bottle. That's like really good. So I'm actually going to close this path just to make sure nothing gets wonky. There we go. And then we can change the color. And so let's do, what do we want to do? What color should our bottle like?
What are you planning to do? I was going to say a light bottle. It almost looks like a Windex bottle.
I was going to say, yeah, like a light blue probably looks good. So
look at that. That is just insane. That is so good.
And this is a low res preview. So we've got over here, we have our low res preview of this bottle that is literally, if I go to outlines mode, just a line. Nicholas, oh, this is going to kill me.
What do we do?
All right. So much better. So much better. All right. So look at that. It's so good. Okay. So now what we can do, and look at, it's actually getting all of the different pieces, right? Even this little edge that Nick created, it's creating in a 3D space. So now what I can do is I want to apply this label to our 3D model, right?
So open up Photoshop.
Yeah, open up Photoshop, no, you don't need any of that crap. What you can do is you're gonna click and drag this into the 3D panel. So look at that, it came into here, right? I can double click, I can rename it if I want, or I can replace it. Ooh, let's play around with replace it. But what I can do is I'm going to click on my 3D object and just click on that object that I just dragged into my 3D panel. I mean,
Dimension anybody?
Yeah, right? It literally will just place
Incredible.
it onto the artboard for you and place you onto that 3D object so you can map your art. You can change right here the properties. So if you wanted to, you could change the graphic. And I am going to scale it down a little bit.
Gotcha.
So we just get the label on there. That looks pretty good.
Can you scale it live by just the anchor points?
Oh, yes. I also could scale it live by the anchor points right here. And it literally stays live. So I do want it to wrap around the edge. So we're going to wrap it there. And let's probably put it lower. Maybe let's put it like here. All right, that looks pretty good. If we wanted to, we can rotate it. We can scale it. We can do all that fun stuff. And I'm going to show you just real quick what this looks like. Because right now it looks like, oh, okay, it's kind of placed on there. I'm going to turn on ray tracing and really like hit it. And while I do that, Nick, do you want to show off some of the stuff that you have over there? I saw you playing with some flowers. What were you doing with those flowers over there?
So we just inflated this really quick. And I love the idea that, like, I'm not an illustrator. I can draw a vector. But what I can do now is something like this, that simple, and just mess around with something and like kind of see how this is going to look and play around. This to me adds such a whole other level to like what I can do for some of my clients. So going to be showing this off to them, I'm assuming, quite quickly, because this is just the coolest stuff. But I want to show you something pretty cool here as well. Here is just a simple seamless pattern. You can see basically how it is. Basically a really cool idea to see if this can be something that we can work with. So now you can take it just like he did. You can drag it right in here, and it's going to actually show up as a material, as something I can kind of canvas something with, correct? Yep. So when I click on this guy and I go here, I'm assuming that's what we're going to do, right? Is that not working?
Sorry.
Did I do that wrong?
I wasn't looking at what you were doing. So,
so I turned it into materials.
Oh, no. So what you can do is you can grab your pattern.
Yes.
And then just drag it over into, oh,
there it is.
There it is.
Oh,
it was
there
loading
it
it in.
Okay,
Yep.
It was there. Okay, perfect. So I think I can bring the scale down a little bit.
Is it?
There we go.
Is that your pattern? I don't know if that's your pattern.
It looks totally different.
Yeah, it's totally something else. So try to click on your pattern real quick.
Yes.
And then just click and drag that over, into the actual box. So you need to drag it into there. Yep.
Okay.
And then it should show up once you click on your 3D object. Up at the top, the little collapsibles.
Yes.
All materials and graphics. Up one there, right there. And it should go right there. It looks like there are multiple instances in your properties panel, though.
Yeah.
So try to clear those out. And while you do that, I'm going to kind of show off real quick how you can really leverage this 3D to kind of like cheat. So I did turn the ray tracing on. So this is full ray tracing. You can see that it is going to take some time to render this out as it goes. But you can see how crisp and how clean this looks. Like this looks like a 3D bottle, right? Like full 3D bottle. So let's say that I do want this to maybe have some liquid or some water in it. This is a great way to cheat. Let's literally just use the brush tool and I'm going to change to a nice little blue here and use the brush tool to make like some waves.
Okay.
Right? Then I'm going to make this into just a super long shape. Fill it in. And now I can literally just come over here, add a graphic, come onto my bottle, and then click to add this graphic. And it is going to allow you to add as many graphics as you want to the object. You can do as many different times. You can just toss them on there. So check that out. And the order is a little bit weird. So I can click and drag to change the order so that our label will then be on top of this water that is filling it. I need to turn off ray tracing.
Oh, you're still in the high res.
Yeah. I am still in the high res, yes. So let me turn off the ray tracing real quick. There we go. And from here, check that out. So I have my art. I can bring it down so that it kind of looks like maybe it's filling that space a little bit. Let's scale it up so that it hits the edges right there. There we go.
Very fun. That looks fantastic.
Check that out, right? It's pretty cool to be able to apply stuff on and really render it out. So
you got all stickers kind of going there, and it's kind of very similar to when you're building in Dimension. You've got things just over each other in different layers. What a fun way to have that. That's right? Pretty cool.
Magic. So Nick, we can do this magic with typography. Do you want to show off some of the typography that you had and how we can kind of bring some new life? Because you had some cool stuff over there.
So yeah, let's have some fun here. I think I'm going to try to create something a little bit summery here as well, some summer vibes. And I just want to start messing with a few things here, maybe just give them the colors I'm talking about. And we got something fun here. So for summer, let's mess around with it. I'm just going to kind of play around here. We've got objects going. I want to extrude, but I want to find a few cool things here. I'm going to go right to those presets and see if there is something unique that's kind of like, which one would be a good one to start with? Kind of thinking here, we got bottom.
I like using the off-axis.
The off-axis ones, right? Like this?
Yes.
Let's see. Off. Oh, there we go.
Right?
Look at that.
Yeah, off-axis is really good.
Really like that. All right, let's zoom in a little bit and see what we can do here. So we've got that ready to go. I think it'd be fun to see if we can like mess around with a few things here. So let's get bevel on. Ooh. I think, to me, I just think it should be more of like a round bevel like this, because it's a little bit more like fun, beachy. Yep. It's not as chiseled or anything kind of unique.
Can you try to inflate and see what happens? I don't think it's going to be as good as the bevel.
Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Let's take repeat off. So now, would you do it to the extruded version or to
it will change it. It will actually change it from being extruded to, I don't like it as much.
It kind of, isn't that funny? We did a slightly better job with the round bevel.
Yes.
Maybe just because it's type and there's so much to consider.
Maybe, yeah.
Right?
Before you make changes to this, Nick, can you drop this in the library? Because I want to try something that I just had an idea.
Yeah.
So before we get to 3D.
To the library.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. I think it's artwork 50. It looks like, nope, that's Beacon as well.
Got it. It'll sync through. I see it syncing. Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Continue on talking about what you were playing around with, what you were playing around with.
No problem at all. All right. So cool. So we got that. I'm also thinking like materials. So what do we want to kind of give this thing? There's some cool ones that we can choose that are already here as well. I can see how this old fabric looks. That's kind of unique and beachy and very cool. We've got cardboard. We got the gold. You could just, that's kind of unique as well. So I love to find something that would be, let's see how this would look. That's not too bad either. There's so many good options here. I'm going to go back to that blue because I kind of liked what that blue was looking at. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of fun. That's got some good looks to it. Next, I'm going to go to lighting. And let's see what we can do here. So here's where I was playing around with this vibes one earlier today. And this is what I love about the lighting part is if something is just not giving you enough contrast between, let's say, what's on the front and all those shadings, you can get in there and really kind of intensify. So just by intensifying, bringing that down, I'm getting darker darks, maybe a little bit lighter lights by moving the intensity up. So what's neat is all of a sudden this, you know what this kind of reminds me of is kind of like that Wallace and Gromit claymation.
It does. Yes.
Right? It's kind of creating that vibe already there, which is really, really cool. Now you also have shadows. And from here, this is where you can kind of say, okay, well, let's see what we want. We want it below it. Nope. We want it behind. And again, we can kind of maybe push this back down a little bit here, get that about there. And then we got some distance. Very nice. So really quick, got something ready to go. Is there a way to change the shadow intensity?
There is not. I don't believe that there is. We can change the amount of light that's hitting it, which will help that shadow intensity. But I want to come back to the lighting because I want to show you. You had a really great. You made the material and applied the material on there. But I'm going to pop back over onto my screen. We're working with winter on my screen. But I do want to be inspired by what Nick was doing. So he has created this object, right, that's in our library. So if you're working collaboratively with somebody, you can grab this, drop it onto your artboard right here, and you can see that it has all of those 3D effects, right? It looks like it's in 3D. I believe it pulled the effects over. It didn't pull the effects over. Did it? It did. Okay, it was just grouped. So it has pulled the effects over, which is great. And watch what I can do here. I can actually come in and create a graphic style. So with that selected, I can click on graphic style. And not only is it going to grab the colors, all that stuff, I can select my type, click on this graphic style, and it's going to change all of the 3D effects, right? It's going to pull all of those effects that I saved. If I want to change the color, I can use the eyedropper tool right there. But it's going to grab all those effects and apply them to my type. Now, Nick, this doesn't really work for winter. I loved the effects that you were doing, right? I was going to come in here and do like a lava on it for the summer. And be like, ooh, it's lava. That doesn't work either, though. So as we scroll through here, we see your materials, right? There's nothing that really looks like icy. So what I can do is with this selected, I can actually click right here on this Find More Substance Materials 3D Community Assets. It's going to open a window. I know, it was a lot of words. And look at, these are all free assets and different free materials. So I want to find something that's ice. So I can simply search here and go to ice. And check that out. Stylized ice.
Look at that fourth one. That fourth one looks great.
This one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So I can click here. Look at, you can see all of the different objects here. And let's go to download S Bazaar.
Ooh, we got new file names, folks.
New file names for y'all. I don't think we've ever talked about that file name here on Office Hours. So then we're going to click on the plus right here and hit add materials. We're just going to grab, my hard drive's almost full. We are going to grab in our downloads that glacier formation, hit open. And watch what happens. It is going to add that into my materials right there. And I can click. It's thinking about it.
It's thinking. It takes a little while to get from, summer to winter. Oh, nice and chilly.
That's so good. All right, so
that is great.
What I'm gonna do, Nick, get ready to show the next thing, kind of playing around with the lighting, but I'm gonna render this in a second. But I do want to show you some of the options that we can play around with. So down here, you see that there's a bunch of options with most of the materials that you're using. There will be extra options. So I can turn the repeat up, and that's just changing the scale. So you can see if the repeat's low, it's really big and really textured. As I pull it up, you can see it gets more subtle. So I actually like it somewhere in between. Check this out. We can turn on water or snow. If we want to add water to this, we can click on water or snow, and it's going to render that in. Let's see what it looks like. Turn off the glacier shape and see what the water and snow option does. Okay, so that's more like watery. I do want it more glaciery. So let's go ahead and turn the glacier on.
Feels a little more menacing.
It is a little more menacing, a little more frozen. So I'm going to scroll down here and check this out. You can see there are all snow level. Hold on. Let's go ahead and turn on roughness.
And this all came in with the new material?
Yes, this all came with the new material. These are all properties. So they are assigned to those materials as kind of extra settings that you can use. So let's use the water level and bring that up and see what it does here. So adjusting this water level, I'm guessing that there is a 3D level of water that, let's take this all the way up and see if it kind of changes that glacier. So let's do a little bit more ice, snow, moss. Oh, these are season filters. So let's turn these glaciers off. Let's leave the water and snow and see. So some of these have instructions with them. I'm not reading them. So we probably should.
You don't need to.
We don't need to. This is the fun. This is the fun of 3D. So let's see if we take the ice all the way down, we take the snow all the way down, and then leave the moss, if it's going to change that for us. So let's see here. Where's the moss level? Ice, frost. All right. I'm not sure what those are doing. I wish that I knew. Maybe the water level's too high? All right, not sure what those sliders are doing, but what we can do is come down here and kind of play around with these. It looks like the frost and frost intensity. So if I take the frost intensity down, it looks like those settings are on. So let's see what happens with our render. Frost cracks. It is rendering. It is thinking. I'm confused about what these settings are doing. Anyway, we have this glacier. We have these settings. It is looking very good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to render this. And as I render it, Nick, if you want to show off some of the lighting effects that we can work with. So I am going to turn on my lighting just so we can see kind of the shadows and whatnot. And Nick, I'm going to cut back to you as I render this. Take a look. What is lighting about? What is lighting?
What is lighting? We're going back to our old office hours days, which was always the best. Exactly. So we have applied a few things here, but we didn't get into like the softness here as well. This is kind of unique where you can kind of soften up that thing there as well. You have ambient light, so you can see the difference there. Look at that's a little too harsh. By turning it on, it has softened it up. It's really kind of made it a little bit more unified together, which I really, really like. So I'm kind of digging the way this is going. We've went through a little bit on the shadows and everything. For my second one here for vibes, what I kind of was messing around with here was we're going to get it into that extrude, just like we did earlier. And then I think we went to our, was it this one here? No, you went to offset access. Which was the one that we liked? I can't remember. Let's see if we can
off axis front is the one that I usually use.
Yeah, so off axis front. There we go. Okay, cool. So we've got that. We'll get in here. We don't have much of a depth, it looks like, so we'll go back into extrude and we'll do this. So I called this one, this was a wood paneling that I found, uploaded this while Andrew was working on it. And I found this kind of like as a kind of a wood grain, but I can also go back and look back at my materials and see that there's a few here. You've got ash wood, you've got larch wood, which I'm assuming is going to make it look pretty damn cool. That's neat.
Ooh.
Let's check out ash, see how that looks. I like that. It has like a beechwood effect as well. But I guess going through here, just like Andrew was showing, you've got all these things you can repeat, get that has a lot of those like the wood planks in it. So I'm going to turn those off completely. The wood color variations. So let's play around with that. You can see I'm getting a little bit more brighter that way, a little bit darker that way. So I'm going to keep it a little bit more brighter. Then we have the contrast of the veins. How cool is that? You can actually mess around with the contrast there.
Yes, and this one has settings that are working. When I was working, this is what the settings are supposed to do. My settings were not doing great for some reason, so that is what the settings are supposed to do.
Look at
is
this,
what's happening
knot amount. So I can get in some knots. I'm assuming we're not seeing too many of them because we're having such a small sample with vibes.
Yeah, can you zoom in really close there so that we can really get it big on the screen?
There we go. Look at that. Okay. So there's that. I'm clicking here. We've got a few more things. We had the knot arrangement. We had the fibers. I'm going to get that a little bit more. We have rotate 90 degrees. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see. And then we have positioning. So we can even like get in there and positioning if something's in the wrong spot. Now that's kind of unique too. You can see between like, let's say the customization of the font you're using or something. If something's not landing right, you can change the positioning of that. So that's all with the ashwood, because if you notice, ashwood has a plank in it. Let's go to the natural chestnut wood. That's nice. I think that's got a really cool vibe. I can even look at this. I can even change the color and lighten the overall color just a bit.
And if you want that to be like that, it is like a white stain, a red stain, like you've dropped food on, whatever, you can change colors, and a lot of them have options to change colors.
That is so great. I just love the idea that you've got all this control and you're actually creating things that, like, to me, I think this is so neat because it seems like a lot of presets and it seems like a lot of, control with that. But I think that's what gives you the most customization of anything that you're working with here, right?
Yep, absolutely. So Nick, you had mentioned about changing the shadows. So that is a preview, what you're seeing there. And it does look very harsh. But the reason that it looks so harsh is because it is previewing. So I'm rendering still at the highest settings, by the way. And once I finish this render, you'll see it actually softens those shadows out quite a bit to kind of make them a lot softer.
Sure.
So can you show off the inflate tool? While we look at that, inflate is a great way to just add some fun bubble. And yes, especially to that Longo right there. That is going to be perfect for inflate.
Right? Yeah.
And especially with inflating both sides. That is a new feature, and it's going to look really great on that object.
Oh, that's going to look so cool. So let's try that out. So we've got this very simple. This is just some like simple hand lettering I've been experimenting with. Could be my new logo. I'm not quite sure. We're going to hit inflate. And you got something cool here. It's exactly what you would expect, right? But let's give it a little bit more depth. So this is actually imagining the curvature of it, right? But
and it's just like pumping it up with air.
Yes, exactly. So what we want to do here is let's get it even a little bit more. And then we can even see it a little bit here, right? Kind of, whoops. Whoa, what did I just do? Now should I group this?
It looks like yes, you should group it. So if they are separate objects, it will be applying the 3D to each of those objects. So you should group it, and that way when you do the inflate, it will inflate it as one object.
Gotcha. There we go. Okay, so We've inflated this back here. Now I think if I'm turning it, we're going to get it all together to turn, correct?
Yes, and it looks like you might have tried to apply multiple 3D effects on there. So I would just undo until it's flat. And while you do that,
let's try that.
Look at this render.
Let's see.
This is the full settings render of our winter. Look at the detail on the glacier. Look at the shadow. So this is what I was meant with the shadows, is when you render it, it renders those shadows out very soft, depending on the intensity of the light. And so the softness will make those shadows very, very soft.
That is so cool.
Offset the shadow a little bit to give it some dimension. You can have it so that it looks like it's right up against a wall, but I wanted it to feel like it was kind of floating in space. And as I zoom in here, it gets a little bit pixelated, but you can see all of that gorgeous detail in 3D on that bevel. And the coolest thing about this is that this is still live type. If I wanted to, I could change it. I'm not going to do that right now because it will blow up my... We'll just be waiting for a render in it for a while. But it is live type, so I can make a change if I need to. So Nick, you're doing the inflate over there. What you got on inflate?
Yeah, so we've got this ready to go. I'm going to change it a little bit here. I think my depth to create it on both sides looks a little bit strong. So let's get it a little bit right here, because what we're going to do now is when we inflate both sides, now when you see how this looks, you've done it on both. Is that not the coolest thing ever?
It's really cool.
Again, it looks like that claymation kind of vibe. And you can see from turning it around here, we get this perfect kind of angle where we want it. I just love this controllability. This to me is like just the coolest thing ever. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
And we're putting in very minimal effort. You guys see what we're doing. It's very, very minimal efforts to get started in 3D and to start working with it. I know.
And to me, it's like, it's such a weird, it's so weird doing this in Illustrator. I'm getting comfortable with it each and every second. Like, to me, this still seems like, really? We're doing this here?
Yep.
It's just the coolest thing ever.
So
I'm going to mess around with lighting. Go for it.
Yeah, while you keep doing lighting, I do want to show over here, we kind of went over the plane, kind of skipped over it. But if I wanted to create maybe a ceiling, right? All you need to do is select your objects, you click on plane, and it's going to move those into a 3D space. So this is really easy to work with if you have maybe a badge or something that you want to put at an angle, or even a full design, right? A bunch of different objects. You can just drop them and it will create this angle. So it's something that if I wanted to create maybe something in the sky, right? We can pull it at that angle. Ooh, click the wrong thing.
Oh gosh, if you're doing like a satellite or like solar panels or something.
Yep.
And it's all in the right constraint. It's just so cool.
Yep, rotating in 3D space. And when I really move it, you can see that it is rotating perfectly in 3D space.
And notice the lighting, how it's changing as it's kind of going. It gets darkened.
The lighting here is in the back. Yep. So let's talk about lighting real quick. And I'm just going to create a circle here so that we can really see what the lighting is doing. And actually, when I create spheres, how I like to do it is delete one of the sides and then make it a half circle and revolve it. I know that that's like the dumbest thing, but from the right edge, it just makes a better sphere in my brain for some reason. So if I try to create a sphere here and then do like an inflate, right? It's pretty much the same. It might even be like almost exactly the same, but for some reason I like doing the half circle and revolving it.
You just feel a little bit more in control with that one. Like I made half of it and take Illustrator, do the rest.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like Illustrator is doing something here. So with this selected, let's go ahead and look at lighting, because lighting is very important here. And with the lighting, we can change the intensity. That's just going to give us like a really, you can see that highlight really hitting. And that just is showing us where the light is. So the cool thing about this is I could make it a white object by just changing the color right there, right? Now we have a white circle. And if I don't want to change the color of the object, I can change the color of the light. So I can change the color of the light to this pink. And look at it's not necessarily making it pink. So let's do this. Let's do the comparison here.
It's like a white ball being shined with
pink light
source. Yeah, I love it.
So let's just create this one and make the actual object pink. And I'll show you the difference between the two.
There we go.
So there's the difference between the two. This is a pink object with white light. This is a white object with pink light, right? So if you think about it in your brain, that is what it would look like. If I had a soft pink light, it would look exactly like that. So let's use this one just for, actually, let's use this right one just so we can see kind of where the light is happening. So let's do red. And let's zoom in here so we can really see. As you move it, you can see the intensity is giving us that glow of the light right there, right?
Yeah.
And right now it looks like our light is above it on the right, kind of pointing down. Now, if I change the rotation is moving around the object. So see that? It's almost like it's in a circle, kind of swinging around our object. So that's the rotation. Now, the difference between rotation and height is the rotation is showing where it is, right? Right now it's bottom right. The height is going to show how close it is. Yeah, almost like it's... So rotation is going around the object this way.
Yeah.
And then height is swinging this way, if
Correct.
that makes sense. So it's swinging almost away from the object. So when I change the height, it's going to get more intense, but it's also going to give us, right, around the object in kind of a 3D space. So the softness, not going to really do much unless you're fully rendered. We'll set it high. Usually you want the softness high unless you want really, really harsh light. Ambient light is going to help us with our shadows. So if you don't use ambient light, it is going to drop those shadows out hard because it is just basically treating it as if there is no other light. It is just coming from one point. So I do want to turn on that ambient light, and it's going to help soften those.
Gives you just those richer, that one, you get that punch of the highlight to the right, which you didn't get before. But I like that sometimes it's actually a sharper, there's that real definite part of the darkness where it kind of really intensifies.
Yep, absolutely.
Love that.
And there are some settings here if you want to play around with them just that are standard. You can do standard is top right coming down. Diffuse will be in the center. Yeah. And you can see it kind of just makes everything soft. Top left to the right. And let's go ahead and change this a little bit. Let's add some shadows here. So clicking on shadows will allow you a couple different options. So one is the shadow, and this is really great at showing you where the light is. So right now, light is bottom right going in.
Correct.
If we change the distance from the object, it will just give us some space so that it's basically moving the wall. How far away is the wall or the thing that it is casting the shadow on. The shadow bounds is how much it will show. So if you have this low, it won't show much. If you have it high, it will show a lot. So we'll have that really high. But what I like to do is create something that's floating, right? So this kind of object, I want it floating in space. I can change it to below object, and that's going to shift my lighting to be from the top down, right? So if I change the rotation, you'll see it's not going to change that much because the light is now on top. The height is definitely going to change so that it feels like it's sitting on a table. And if I change the distance, it will be floating in space, right? So now we've got this cool kind of bouncing ball floating in space kind of object. And
it's amazing how that has, because you're just looking at it from a different angle.
Yes.
Doing all the same things, but the result looks totally different.
Right? And so from here, if I do turn on my ray tracing, I am going to do this real quick and see, it should be a pretty quick render, but you'll see how harsh the shadow is right now. But as we ray trace, it is going to apply that softness that we have right here. And that's really where the softness comes through, is when you do full scale renders. And the render is definitely jumping our video. There we go.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That is incredible.
It's really good. So it looks like some of our shadow bounds got cut off here, which we can fix, but it's incredible how 3D this looks. It's crazy.
I just can't get over the way that, like, that's better than Photoshop. it's like insane. It's
really, really good. And it's just smooth and delicious.
I'm assuming too that, like, you just zoomed in and got nothing. Nothing made any difference. This is still scalable because it's still considered vector, right?
I believe so. It is rendering into raster, but it is still vector. So we could scale it to any size, and the 3D could still render. It would render into... hold on. No, I'm actually wrong about that, because there's an option right here to render this as a vector. I'm not gonna press this button.
No, that will take.
I definitely want to show. I don't want to press the button because our video will just like. So Nick, you have the Stranger Things logo there. I know that you want to do something with it. What do you want to do with the Stranger Things logo?
So I want to do more of the forced perspective kind of vibe, where it kind of falls apart in the back. It falls kind of like a little more dramatic.
Zooms out,
right? What's the best way you go about that when you're actually working with this?
I'll walk you through this. So the best way to do that is to extrude it. So this is actually a really interesting effect. So if you extrude it, and you'll actually probably want to group those together and do both of them.
Let's do that. All right. So that was our tip that we learned. So I'm grouping together.
Yep.
We're going to go in extrude.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then instead of having it at an angle, you want to just set it front.
All right. So that would be
down at the bottom where it has rotation.
Yes.
Just front.
Okay. There we go. So
right
that
there.
gives us that.
So it'll be flat. So right now it looks like nothing. So start playing around with those settings. Nothing happens. So the reason that nothing is happening is because it is changing the depth, but you're looking at it from the front. So you could do that and create this cool effect, right, that has that kind of thing. That's actually not what you want to do for this kind of effect. So undo that or just set it to front. Yep.
Back to 0.
What you want to do here is you want to change the perspective because it will change how you're looking at it. Right now you're looking at it from the angle to where there's nothing extra. Yeah. So changing the perspective changes the perspective of how you're looking at it, and it will stretch that so that you get some really, really cool effect with that type, right? So this is 100% how you get that kind of stacked, big, beefy look. And yes.
Wow.
Right?
And
so
then there you go.
I love doing, yes, exactly. Rotate it just a little bit up and then use that perspective. And then Nick, what I'd love to do on this is try to drop some kind of maybe like rock material on there. And that's something that I love is making, because this effect makes it feel chiseled and big. And even adding, yes. Right? Stranger Things in space. This is the upside down version of it.
Exactly, right?
So you can really get some nice, and change the repeat on there.
Yes.
As you scroll it right there, a little bit more right there. So as you change the repeat, it's actually going to make it smaller. There we go. So you get some nice kind of detail on there, and it really feels like it is stone coming through, right? That looks so good.
Oh my gosh. I love this. This is so, now, and if the color's not right, can kind of get it a little bit, give it a little bit of color.
So what you can do is, because you have the material on there, yes, it is going to shift a little bit of that base color in with that material. Some of the materials do not do that.
Correct. It all depends on what's here in properties.
Yes,
correct?
There are also some materials that are fabrics. And so let me show you real quick one that is a fabric.
I believe it would be...
It's like a camo, I believe.
Oxford. We got Oxford. We've got...
hold please.
Circle
Materials.
Stitch.
Okay, real quick, just as I look for it, I do have a cheese one. I found one that was cheese, and it's my favorite thing that's ever existed. Okay, so it's right here. Ripstop fabric. So not only can the materials be 3D, but some of the materials are actually see-through. So check this out. As I kind of move this around...
That's very BB-8.
Is this not the right one? Hold on, let me...
It's very Star Wars.
It is very Star Wars.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and make this into a cube, and then I'll go ahead and add that material, the ripstop material. And I believe that there are pieces of this, if I change the repeat, that are actually cut out. Let's see if I can damage amount. So let's take the damage amount up and the damage variation up as well, and change the cuts. Oh, there we go. It's because you're seeing the inside of the object is what's happening. But as I move this, you should be able to see that there are some cutouts. So there are materials that actually are cut out and will allow you to see through the 3D object. I believe that's the only one that I have synced right now. But playing around with materials is by far my favorite thing. This one is like a blob, like a goo blob. Look at the angles that it's getting. Like, it feels gooey. Even changing the roughness of this is going to look great.
Oh, man. My weekend is shot.
Look at this 3D shape, right?
Wow.
And my favorite thing is to do a material and then go into the lighting and just change the rotation. Look at how cool that looks.
Yeah. Come on.
Right?
It looks like it's alive and it's not even moving.
Right? So that's all we have. Nick, what do we want people to do? What do we want them to do with all this knowledge that we've given them?
all we want them to do first is just experiment with all this great stuff with 3D. Post it in homework. Show us what you've made, what you've explored. I think there's so many cool things to look at between the lighting. Find materials. Go to that one button that goes to like source materials. I found that while Andrew was working. It's so quick and easy. Downloads really quick, and you import it right in, and it works, and you get a great material. So work around with that, try it out. But we also want them to do something else that you mentioned at the very beginning. Right?
Yes.
And that's taking a lot of pictures.
I do want you to take a lot of pictures as well. So you can take a lot of pictures because we will be using them in some photo boot camps that are coming up in the future. I believe that we are off next. No, we are here next. We are off. We are here next week.
I'm not going to add to that because I thought we were off. No,
we're off next week.
No,
we are on next week. We're on next week, y'all. We're on next week.
Next week we're on.
We'll be back with another episode of Office Hours, and we will see you next week for another episode. If we're not here, then we're not here. If we are, then we are. Just assume
if we're not here, you know why we're not here.
Watch some replays. All right, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.